No unit of the faithful nations embodies the brutal majesty and sanctified industry of the Great War more fully than the Heavy Mechanized Infantry. These warriors, clad in towering suits of orichalcum steel, stride across the battlefields as if they were divine wrath given form. To behold one advancing through smoke and fire is to witness both miracle and horror, a living fortress animated by flesh, powered by faith, and bound by the terrible machinery of endless war. They are soldiers, symbols, and sacrificial offerings to the altar of victory. The genesis of these suits lies in the divine inspiration of Saint Methodius, the holy mechanist whose shrine anchorites have already proven that spiritual devotion could be joined with mechanical genius. Where others saw machinery as soulless, Methodius envisioned it as a vessel for divine will. From his teachings arose a new philosophy, that faith itself could be embedded into steel, that machines could be sanctified if built according to sacred principle. Metallurgists and engineers, working in imitation of Methodius' vision, discovered the secret of orichalcum steel, a rare alloy infused with holy resonance. The alloy is stronger than any earthly metal, impervious to small arms, resistant to grenades and artillery. Only the mightiest weapons of heretic origin, or the heaviest cannons of the faithful, can reliably pierce it. Once cooled, the alloy hardens beyond reshaping, a fact which forever shaped the grim doctrine of the Order. The armour cannot be altered to suit the man. The man must instead be altered to fit the armour. The earliest suits were crude by comparison to modern designs, but even those lumbering prototypes instilled terror and awe. Refinements followed swiftly. Articulated joints, powered by hydraulics and diesel engines, transformed the suits from walking tanks into fluid extensions of the body. A mechanized warrior could run, strike, and fire with a speed unimaginable in such a mass of steel. To don such armour was to transcend ordinary humanity, to become a sanctified engine of destruction. Yet, the armour alone was not enough. It required a soldier strong enough, disciplined enough, and devoted enough to endure its weight. The black-robed monks of the Mentalist Order became custodians of this sacred task. Tirelessly, they roamed the faithful nations, seeking out the willing and the desperate. The Great War ensured a constant supply. Heretic raids left countless children orphaned, villages burned, and families annihilated. Orphanages and foster homes overflowed with youths yearning for vengeance, their grief sharpened by the propaganda of the state. To join the Heavy Mechanized Infantry meant food, pay, prestige, and above all else, the chance to strike back. The Order cared little for class, gender, or lineage. Flesh was cheap, but the steel was priceless. Only strength, intellect, and willingness determined who would be chosen. The first test for these soon-to-be warriors was chemical. Volunteers were subjected to sacred serums infused with holy smoke, tinctures said to purge weakness and awaken hidden potential. Few survived unscathed. Many convulsed in agony, their bodies unable to endure the transformation. Others lost themselves to madness, their minds shattered by the potent compounds. Only the rare few endured, their flesh altered, their nerves hardened, their aggression sharpened. These survivors became aspirants. Life as an aspirant was a crucible of pain and discipline. Their diets were carefully regulated, rich in protein to fuel the unnatural growth. Their bones thickened, their muscles developed twitch fibers far beyond human norms, sometimes grotesquely altering their bodies with ridges and unnatural protrusions. Opiates and incense kept their heightened aggression in check. Days were filled with martial drills, spiritual indoctrination, and lessons in mechanical operation. At 18, most aspirants were unrecognizable compared to their younger selves. Their humanity was already half erased, replaced by something harder, stronger, less familiar. Yet this was not enough. Before they could be entrusted with armour, they were sent into the fire. The aspirants were dispatched to the front lines as ordinary soldiers. They fought in trenches, joined patrols across blasted no man's lands, and participated in night raids into enemy territory. Under the watchful eye of veterans, they learned to wield every weapon, from bayonets to trench knives, flamethrowers to mortars, and small arms to machine guns. They endured bombardment, gas attacks, and close quarters slaughter. This year of blood tempered or destroyed them, and by 19, an aspirant was either dead or a veteran, hardened beyond recognition. Those who endured inherited the armour of a fallen predecessor. This ceremony of inheritance was both sacred and brutal. Since the suits could not be reshaped, the soldiers' bodies must alter to fit. Bones were broken and reset. In some cases, amputations were required to wield weapons whose recoil would have shattered natural limbs. Prosthetics, crafted by the artificers of the Sultanate, were grafted into their bodies, marvels of steel and engineering, capable of withstanding the rigours of battle. Thus the flesh was made subordinate to steel, until man and machine were one. Once clad in their mechanized suits, the soldiers became avatars of destruction. They were deployed at the points of greatest danger, where enemy lines were strongest, where defences threatened to collapse, or where victory or annihilation hung in the balance. The doctrine of New Antioch emphasized their role as armoured spearheads. Mechanized infantry advanced under storms of fire, their heavy weapons tearing through fortifications, while shock troopers swept in to clear survivors. Other nations adapted the suits differently. England, fearful of coastal invasion, developed monstrous super heavy variants that served as walking fortresses and coastal batteries. The Sultanate, masters of prosthetic artifices, integrated augmentation deeply into their doctrine, fielding warriors whose limbs were almost entirely mechanical, armed with exotic weapons unseen in the West. Specialized units arose as well. Some suits were outfitted for trench raids, carrying heavy shotguns or flamethrowers for brutal close-quarters fighting. Others bore massive ballistic shields of layered orichalcum and armoured fibre, advancing as walking bulwarks to shelter infantry. Anti-tank specialists wielded massive ordnance designed to pierce enemy armour. Each variant expanded the tactical possibilities of mechanized warfare. Their effect in battle was legendary. Heretics, too, came to fear them deeply. Captured enemy diaries described mechanized soldiers as iron saints and unbreakable demons, entities so terrifying that entire companies fled at the sight of their advance. The psychological effect was as valuable as their physical power, for they turned battles before the first shot was fired. By 21, most heavy mechanized infantry soldiers were decorated heroes, their exploits celebrated in hymns and propaganda. By 30, the rare survivors became living legends often recalled to the households of dukes and kings. These veterans are entrusted with experimental armours, including the fabled flying suits said to mimic the angels of heaven, their banners bearing the device of the Holy Lance itself. These are the personal honour guard of Duke Constantine XI, wearing armour much like his own. Yet beneath the glory lay a heavy toll. The transformation scarred the mind as much as the body. Many soldiers felt estranged from their own forms, uneasy when outside their suits. Whispers and stares followed them in public, reminders of their monstrous alterations. Some withdrew entirely, rarely leaving their armour, preferring the company of comrades who shared their fate. The tradition of war names reflected this loss of self. Upon donning armour, each soldier abandoned their birth name, taking instead the name of the first warrior to wear the suit. The given names survived only on dog tags or in the memories of close friends. The practice honoured the chain of sacrifice, but it also erased individuality, binding each soldier to the war more completely than blood or oath ever could. When a mechanized warrior fell, recovery of the suit was paramount. Specialists tracked vehicles, braved artillery fire to retrieve the armour from no man's land. The body was stripped from the shell, interred in mass graves named for the first wearer of the suit. Their birth names were etched into bronze plates, stored in chapels across the faithful nations. Over time, these collections grew vast, entire vaults filled with names slowly devoured by verdigris, forgotten even as the war consumed more. Yet amidst the anonymity, stories persisted. In the barracks of St. Michael in New Antioch, soldiers whispered of Duke Constantine XI. Each All Souls' Day, it is said, he walked in disguise into the chapel of remembrance, reading aloud the names of his fallen household troops and praying for their deliverance. Whether truth or mere legend, the tale offered comfort, the belief that someone still remembered, that their sacrifices were not wholly swallowed by oblivion. The heavy mechanized infantry become more than soldiers. To civilians, they are symbols of divine strength, living icons of the faithful cause. Children carve crude imitations of their suits from wood, parading them through ruined streets in play that echoed war. Priests likened them to the giants of ancient scripture, instruments of God's wrath walking among men. Women and men lit candles in chapels to pray for their protection, whispering their war names in the same breath as saints. But fear accompanied reverence. Many civilians avoided speaking directly to them, unsettled by their altered bodies and distant stares. To some, they were holy weapons. To others, they were half men, walking reminders of the cost of war. Even among their comrades, they inspired awe mixed with unease. It was said to share a trench with a mechanized warrior was to feel both safer and smaller, shielded by their presence, but diminished by their inhuman scale. Among soldiers themselves, folklore grew. Tales circulated of mechanized warriors who fought on after mortal wounds, driven by faith and the momentum of their armour. Stories of ghostly figures, suits moving long after their occupants had died, whispered through the trenches. Whether believed or not, these tales reflected the soldiers' sense that the suits themselves carried a presence beyond the human. Fragments of the divine, or the damned, locked within their orichalcum shells. They embodied the paradox of the Great War itself. They were miracles of engineering and devotion, yet also monstrous creations born of desperation. They were saints of steel and martyrs of machinery, fighting not only against the heretic, but also against the slow erosion of their own humanity. And as long as the Great War rages, the Mentalist Order will continue their grim work, shaping flesh to fit steel, forging new generations to climb into the unyielding shells of Orichalcum and march once more into fire. For in the faithful nations, no unit symbolizes the Great War's terrible majesty more than the Heavy Mechanized Infantry. They are the walking relics of a war without end, at once the saviors and the sacrifices of mankind. Okay, so someone in Crusade definitely watches my videos. I don't know if it's you, Thomas. I hope it is, and I hope you're enjoying. Thank you for listening. Now, if you remember, a few videos ago when I did the Zygotic Beast Lord, I believe, video, I said I wanted more on the Faithful Nations, and Crusade has delivered once again. I really like this lore blurb. I think it makes the Heavy Mechanized Infantry, which is my favourite unit in the game, currently, except for, of course, Paladins, but they don't have models. It's my favourite modelled unit in the game. I love their aesthetic, I love how I can customize them, I love the Red Brigade version of them. It's so cool. I'm very glad that they released a full lore blurb on the Mechanized Infantry, and I hope more is coming, because what I would like to do is I'd like to go back and I'd make a new video covering all of Trench Crusade's factions in more depth. And I'd just like to say, thank you guys for watching the last video I made. I noticed a lot of you actually really liked it. Currently, as I'm recording, it is on about 760 views. I did not expect it to get that much. It was my attempt at something new, and usually on this channel, when I attempt something new, it isn't received very well. So thank you guys for watching and supporting that. I will be very happy to do more. It was so fun to make that video. The new style of animation, it's kind of like someone said, they're glad that I'm picking up Janovich's torch. Now, that is the highest praise I can think of, to be honest, because I religiously watch Janovich. I love his videos. And I was trying to emulate that kind of idea, the tactical look down on the battlefield type idea. So, if you want more of those sort of short stories, battle reports, so if you would like more of that, let me know in the comments. Recommend factions that you want to face each other. I could do another that is, of course, New Antioch versus the Black Grail. That's another one I want to do, or a Black Grail outbreak in a New Antioch stronghold. Those videos, of course, take a lot more time. They're probably all going to be roughly an hour long in total, or an hour and 30 minutes. But I know you guys like longer form videos anyway, so I doubt you'll have a problem with it, but it will just take longer for me to make a video and release it. Like, for example, those two parts. I was working on those for about a month. I also plan soon to release the full compilation whenever my computer stops crashing when I open the file because it has too many layers. I might need a better PC, but hey, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you would like to support the channel, there is a membership below. Any support is appreciated. I am also working on the promised stickers, custom stickers and custom benefits of the membership. Feel free to join the memberships or leave a like and subscribe and comment. It is the best way for the YouTube algorithm to know about me and show me to more people. Oh, also hype the video. That's a new thing. I don't know what the deal with it is, but do it anyway. It looks cool. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.